philosophy on this would be, when you have a two-way conversation with somebody about real estate and they tell you their time frame is 12 months or less. So if their time frame is, 3 years or something like that, I wouldn't create an opportunity yet for them. I'd have them on a smart plan. I would do that sort of thing, but I wouldn't really create a opportunity until we're about a year out. Okay. Um, now let's say I spoke to somebody, and let's call her Susie, and Susie said, Jeff, I'm about 9 months away from selling my house. There's things I want to do. I'm just not quite sure when I'm going to be ready, that sort of thing. So I'm going to create an opportunity and, make sure I got my market centers set. Okay, what's the opportunity type? It's going to be a listing. I'm the owner of it. Who's the client? So I can come in here and I could find the client. Now, you have to make sure that they're a contact, already inside of Command. And then if they have a spouse, like this is my wife. So my wife is connected to my contact card. So that's how Command knows that. So we're both here. What's the opportunity name? My market center, and I just think it's a good idea, always puts on when it's a listing opportunity, we always put the address, right? So I'll say, okay, I'm gonna put the put the address of the home in there with their name. If I have any sort of custom tags that I want to put on it, and then an estimated close date. So, Tracy said we're I think it's sell maybe towards the end of the year. Okay, so let's just say, okay, we listed in December and it's going to close the end of December. We'll just say that, okay? And the estimated list price, let's say it's $575, 2.5%. But we're going to put them in the cultivate phase, and we're going to put them in the watch. Now I could put it anywhere I want, but I'll just say I'm put it in a watch and create. So I've created this opportunity. Okay, so here's all the information. It's here. I can look at if there's any sort of other things I want to do, but I don't have any offers for it. I don't have any docs. This is simply just me putting them, like if you have a whiteboard in your office, this is just me just putting them on my whiteboard, okay? So if I go back to my things, I say, okay, here's this individual. You'll see right here, I have a checklist. What I've done is if you go into edit stages, each stage of that process within that opportunity, I have checklists. And so if I click on this checklist, I can put anything in here. So like I have an update item saying set up on neighborhood nurture. So I just want to make sure that when I get a listing lead and they're a year out, I want to make sure there's a certain group of things that I do every time. So I'm going to send that in. I want to make sure I got the address of their home in there. I want to send them a postcard. If there's anything like that I want to do, this is just reminders so that every time I put somebody in this category, I do this same thing every single time. Okay. And then if I click this client update button, what that means is once I complete this checklist item, it's going to send my client an email the next morning. Okay. So in these beginning stages, you may only have a couple checklist items for a contact. It's like when I put somebody in watch, maybe there's like 4 or 5 things that I'm going to do. But when they go from watch to nurture, maybe there's just one more thing that I'm going to do. And if they go to hot, then maybe there's 2 more things we're going to do. So that's just completely up to you on however you want to run your business. But this is where you really want to kind of look to say, okay, every time I get a listing lead and I put them in this stage, I want to remember, do this. Okay, that's what this is for. And then, so let's say I talk to them and we set an appointment for next week for me to go visit their home. So I'm going to click on this person on these 6 squares, and I can just drag and put them into appointment and let go. And so now if I go to appointment, they're here. Okay, so now I'm scheduling this appointment for them. And let's say, okay, we talked and we scheduled it. So now that I've got it to schedule, you'll see that my checklist before was 0 out of 3 because I had those, but there's 0, 0 because I don't have any checklist created for this one. If I were to go inside of, edit these stages, and I could see, okay, scheduled. Now, I'm this is for the globally for your command. So when I come in and I'm editing the stages, it's for every single You don't have to do this for each individual contact opportunity. You're doing this for your opportunities from now going forward. Okay. So if I click edit stages, when I'm coming into like the appointment, maybe in some of that, what you'll do is let's say you schedule that appointment. Well, I want to remember to send a thank you card. I want to remember to run a CMA. I want to remember to do, these bunch of different things for that. You'll want to put those in so you remember them. So again, you're going to have some minor stuff in these different stages. But once I move this person to, okay, now we're in active listing, I have a listing agreement. Now, maybe when I go into my to these stages, like staging. So I'm staging. I'm getting ready to list this house live on market. We're not ready for showings yet. It hasn't hit live on the MLS. What are the things that I want to do? So most of you will say, okay, I need to order pictures. I need to order my sign. It's COVID, so I need to have booties, gloves, hand sanitizer. All that stuff that you think like, man, here's all the things I want to do or I need to do, and put those as checklist items so that once you drag somebody from one stage to the next, it's going to start that checklist and so that we can go. So this really just starts to help to automate your process, that as you move somebody from one step to the other, you don't forget what I was supposed to do. So any
Can I ask a
questions?
question, Jeff?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you said as they go through their checklist and check things off that they do, they can arrange for the client to be updated on that. Would
Yeah.
that, if they did 5 things on their checklist one day, like all the things you just mentioned, would that be one email that the client would receive with the 5 items that they accomplished? It's not 5 different emails, correct?
Correct. Yeah. And so if you're just curious, like, what does that look like? If you go to here and to your profile and click settings, and then go to command settings and opportunity settings, client update. And this will tell you, okay, it's going to be sent out roughly about 7:30 in the morning, or I could say, I want it to go out at 8:30, whichever time you want it to be. Who's it sending from? By default, if you're not on a team, it's going to be sent from you. Who's it sending to? Do I want it to only go to the primary client, or do I want it to go to both? So if you have, partners that are connected, like how I created the opportunity and I linked my wife and myself, you can do that. You can also send it to the owner, meaning to the team. So let's say you're running a team, and let's say I'm the buyer's agent on the team. If I click this button, what that's going to do is if I'm working a buyer lead on the team, the client update of everything I've done for that client that previous day is not only going to go to the buyer, but it's also going to go to the team lead.
Oh, that's nice.
So that way, as a buyer's agent, my head team leader is going to know what I'm doing for the client. And then if you want to see what's actually being sent, just hit this preview button down here. Just in case you missed it, it's this little blue hyperlink that says preview. If I click it, you're going to have, your logo, your team logo, or your market center logo, your information. It's going to say, hey, here's what we're doing things for you. If it's a listing, it's going to have that particular property address. If you have the picture for that listing, it's going to be on there as well. And it's going to say, here's all the checklist things that Jeff had done for you. And then the rest of that, your branding and stuff down here. So that's what that is sending out.
Nice. What was it had an option under email default, or what else could you make it?
I don't think that this functionality has been coded in yet.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, so right now it's just going to be a default, but in the future you should be able to change that design. But as of right now, it's we're doing it just that way.
Okay.
So go back to opportunities here. So any questions on creating the stages and checklists, that sort of thing?
Excuse me, I did join it a little late, so I apologize if I'm asking a remedial question. If you're creating an opportunity and there's 3 clients as the opportunity, how do you add the 3rd client?
That's a good question, Angie.
Yeah, that is a good question.
Because I have a lease and it involves 3 people, and I search. I just use my common sense because this should be highly intuitive, and I couldn't find a place to add the 3rd person. And then I thought to myself, is it really that critical? And even on car forms, there's really in many cases, there's only 2 lines for
Yeah.
the client. And so what I did is I just put 2 names on 1 row and just space the names. And I'm just going to make sure to have an extra signing, the little drop-in thingies, I talk about.
Yeah, no, that's a legit question. And I think just kind of hacking it, like what you're saying, is because like you could have, I mean, if it was like a trust or something, then you'd have the representative form, capacity form, that car form you would use. But yeah, so let's say you've got 3 siblings that are buying a property together, or 3 business partners, whatever, and they're having thirds shares equally of it, then yeah, you're just gonna have to create that. I guess I would just say like, hey, these are the 2 main point people for the transaction, and that's how we're gonna run it. Kind of the same way you would do with car.
Cool. Because somebody said, oh, with car, then you probably just need to get an extra form, like an additional signer or something like that. And I couldn't find that. And, and typically I'm told, well, everyone just uses a TC. Before I learned how to use a calculator, I should learn how to add. So I want to definitely get familiar with this, and there should be a proper way of doing it. Eventually I'll be able to afford a TC, but for now I'm doing it.
Yeah. So sidebar conversation on that. I've been licensed 2009. I've never been in arbitration, mediation, never plan on being in any of that. And so I'm super conservative when it comes to those kind of things. I'm 100% in your boat that I think that I personally, I have a TC, and I do at least 1 transaction every 6 months by myself, because our license at the end of the day is the one that's on the RPA, that's on the RLA. So we're the ones that are responsible for that. So we do want to do that. So, our RTC is not the one that's going to be taking on the liability. We could say, well, my TC created this form for me. Sorry, Scooter, your license is the one that's attached to it. So it is very important for you to become knowledgeable of that. Talk to your broker. You have access as a member of CAR to call CAR Legal to ask those questions, to those as well. So yeah, just speak to your broker on how they want you to handle that.
Thank you.
Yeah, 100%.
But for the opportunity, we can't have 3 contacts associated.
No.
Okay.
No, yeah, and so you'll just do that, and it's so like, okay, let's well, any question else on the stages, and then I can go into something else inside of opportunities.
Let me check the Facebook real fast.
Sure.
I think, no, I think we can move on.
Okay, cool. So this is a buyer client that I have that we closed on Monday, and I've submitted all my paperwork, and some of the stuff is is missing, or something's being done. So when I create an opportunity, let's go back here one step. So if I go back to this one, this here, if I were to say, okay, hey, this is now an active listing, I can add a new offer. Okay, so if I have a buyer, any one of those, I'm going to say, okay, hey, here's my offer, create the offer, put the information about the offer, who's the buyer's agent, who's the listing agent, pre-approved, pre-qualified, any of that sort of stuff, and go, what are the terms of the contract? They're putting 3.5% or earnest money. Let's say we're doing a 3% earnest money. The cash, we're putting $30,000 down, and it's a $500,000 purchase. So we're doing 3% earnest money deposit. We're in California, so we don't really have option fees. Termination. This is one where I'll say, okay, what's the latest date that you put in that you guys have mutually agreed upon in your contract for the last contingency? So we have inspection, appraisal, and loan. Loan is typically the longest at like 21 days. So let's say that wasn't countered back, and so it's 21 days. Okay. And then if the seller is going to contribute any sort of closing costs or anything, so I would say, okay, no, the seller's not contributing anything, agent analysis. So then this is where if I'm the listing agent and I've received 5 offers for the property, I'm putting each offer into here, and then I can put in pros, like strong, down, and EMD. Cons, lend out of area lender. Okay. And then you can put in a summary, and then I can save it. Once I've saved that, I put that in here. Now I can create add a new offer, and we can call this, okay, this is offer number 2. We can create it again, put in all that information, and I can say, okay, this person, all that, terms, cash. Let's say they're an all cash offer of $500,000. There's no loan. They're putting 10% down as EMD. We're waiving all their contingencies. I would say all cash, no contingencies. Cons, we can say lower offer. Save. So now I've got 2 of these. Okay, so let's say if you've got multiple offers on a property, I put those offers in, and then if I click select all, and then I can click on compare offers. If I click compare offers, it's now going to create this offer comparison. And see, so I can see this. Now I can download this, or I can email this offer comparison. So if I email the offer comparison, it's going to say, okay, this is the seller. And it's going to say, hey, you've got 2 offers. Great news, you got 2 offers. Now in this message, I could say, I recommend we go with the offer from the Sanchez family. Okay, so I can say that, hey, when you get this, go there, and then I can say, okay, send that offer. So now it's going to send the offer. So now if I go to my email here and reload this, come on. Reload. Okay, here it is. You got 2 offers. So now it says, great news, you got 2 offers. It says, I recommend we go with the offer from the Sanchez family, and it shows them here. Now, if I click compare offers, it will show that to them in a side by side, just like that. So this is a great way for if you're a listing agent and you get multiple offers to be able to show your client, hey, here's the kind of the guts of the offer, in my opinion on them, but here they all are, so they can see a quick snapshot of what's going on. So go ahead.
I was going to say, Jeff, can you show us how you started off this offer comparison? Did you start it from the pipeline, or?
So I opened the opportunity. So I just click on the
Okay.
opportunity here and click on offers and commissions.
Okay. Got it.
And then I click add a new offer, right? So let's say like, hey, I sent that to them, but let's say I got 2, and let's say today's Saturday. So I could send them the email saying, hey, we got 2, but I recommend we wait until Monday to get all the offers, but we got 2, and any more new ones, I'll keep adding them in. So then now Monday comes, and now now I've added 5, and I could resend. So if I add another offer, and I say offer 3, create this offer and go through this process again, it's now going to come in and it's now going to be able, I can click this again and say, okay, compare the offers again. And now it's going to say, okay, here's all of them. And then again, I can email that offer comparison again to the client.
That's a great tool.
Yeah, so this is great for when you're getting into multiple offers and stuff with your clients, that you can able to see all of them. Now, once I have, I've input all these offers, then what I'll do is I'll say, okay, I want to accept this offer. So we went into contract, the seller says, okay, we want to accept that one. So if I click accept this, now what this is going to do is I go to manage commission. Okay, so I'm going to go into manage this commission, and I gotta edit the contract date. So say we went into contract, what's the date today? The 9th. So we're in a contract today on the 9th. The commission, is 3%, and save the changes. And you'll see here, it automatically creates all your commission information here. And then over here, it'll say, here's the breakdown of it. Now, every market center is going to be a little bit different. Mine, if I click on add note, mine wants me to put in who the escrow officer is, what their email is, and phone number, so they know who to send the DA to. So that's what we do as far as like our market center. So you put that in. Once I've put this information in, and this is all correct, I hit submit. I'm not going to submit it because this would go to my MCA and she'll be thinking that we're making a bunch of money. But if I hit submit, it's going to send that to your MCA, and they'll review it and go. Now, let's say you did this, and then you're going through the transaction, and all of a sudden you're to save the deal, you got to contribute $500 to something. Pay for home warranty or whatever. So what'll happen is once you have that commission, I'll go to one that's already done here. So if I open up this one, I go to my commissions. If I click view commission, I can say request termination. So I can terminate that DA to start another one. So I can say, okay, wait a second, we had to change things, so request it. Your MCA will be able to get that request and say, okay, what's going on? And then they'll help you change it so that you can adjust the commission.
And what if the offer falls through altogether? Are the other options still waiting for you there?
Yeah, so you would request termination if you need to change it, or if the offer fell through. So if that offer fell through, then you would do that, and then it would go back to the other offer here. And once you request a termination, see, it says here that if it fell through, you can request termination of the screen. Once that's in, a new commission and a new offer in the offers tab is opened.
I see.
So that's where that would be. So let's say I submitted my commission to my MCA, and I've got all that in there. Now you'll go to your documents tab, and here is where, so this is a buyer, so our offer got accepted, so now we're under contract. If I click this section here of under contract, your market center has their checklist, and it's all in here, and you can sort by what's required, and then what's conditional, and what's optional. If I click this one here, I can sort, reverse sort it. So generally speaking, like when I open up an escrow, I'll first and see, okay, what's required? What does my market center want me to do? And I'll go inside of car forms to make sure I've got all those forms a part of it, so I can send that out for signatures. And then what I'll do is I'll say, okay, I've got all that submitted, or I've got all that paperwork in. To add a document, I actually think she might have sent that to me. Let me see here. Yep. Okay. So these docs, this is great. We're doing this live here. So, so they signed the school district one, and we got, my Avid back from them signed. So I check it all, make sure they had signed everything where they were supposed to. Yep, everything's signed. So I've got the signed doc that I needed. I go back to my commands, and I see this was the school disclosure one. Was this one was the Avid? Okay, so I go back here to, I'm looking for my Avid that was required. Where is that? HD request for repair. Buyer's agent Avid. I click add file, and then I just drag that file in, or I can click on it and I can say click on it. Okay, let's go to downloads. There's the Avid. Open. It's going to upload it, and then click, once that bar goes away, click assign, and now it's here. Okay, now it's uploaded. Yeah.
I have a quick question, Jeffrey. So you do have to save it onto your hard drive then, the signed copy. You can't just retrieve it from DocuSign, the signed.
Yeah, you can if you started a transaction in DocuSign Rooms, like right here. I just haven't linked mine yet because I'm lazy. But yeah, you can absolutely link it and say, hey, go grab this form from DocuSign. But this one is from an external. So this was, the listing agent. I'm representing the buyer, so the listing agent sent me the PDF. So because of that, I'm uploading it manually.
Okay. Yeah, I just was wondering if there was like a shortcut, because right now I'm all over the place. Like I'll go to car, and I'll initiate the transaction there, and then I'll come over here because I know that I need to drop them in here. I'm just wondering if there was like an easier way that they're all linked and that I just have to enter the client one time, not in 3 different places.
Yeah, you can link them together via DocuSign. So you link your DocuSign. If you go into your settings, you can link your DocuSign with command, and then you have your DocuSign linked with car forms. So that way, once something's being signed, it's being pushed to the different places.
That's awesome. Okay, I guess I'll have to play a little more with it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. So you'll see that now that I've added that new document, it says resubmit to MC. So then now, because I've got what was missed, I can resubmit that to my MC and say, okay, am I done now? Now, what happens is when they're reviewing your documents, like this particular one, it says rejected. Well, why was the wire fraud rejected? It says missing seller. Like, wait a second, I thought I got that signature. If I click on the document, it will show me this is the document that I uploaded, and I can scroll down and say, whoops, yep, sure enough, it's not there. Maybe I uploaded the wrong one or whatever. And so let's say, I've uploaded this document and now I've got the one with the seller signature. I'm just going to click this 3 little buttons and say update. And I could say, okay, why are we re-uploading this document? Got seller signature. and then I can grab that document and upload it and say update, and it'll update that that document. So these little chat bubbles are here for when whoever's doing the compliance for your market center is looking at that particular document and they reject it, they can tell you why they reject it. Now, if you're looking at it and you're just like, wait a second, that doesn't make sense. You know, everything's there. What you can do is you can come up to add comment. Okay. So I would click on add comment. If I start with the @ symbol, so think of this very much kind of like Instagram, Twitter. If I start typing in the @ symbol, and then I can start typing in people's names, I can see these are everybody at my market center. So that's like my TL, broker, compliance coordinator, MCA. So I can come in and say, hey, compliance coordinator, hey, broker, why do I need this form you are requesting? This is bogus. Whatever, right? So you can just put whatever, however you want. And so what's going to happen is they will get an alert in command, and then now you've created this chain of comments between you and your market center compliance team of what's going on there. So this is a great tool if you're, you know, it's 1 o'clock in the morning and you're, you know, cleaning up your file and you got questions as to why they're requesting something in there, then you can go in and do that. And that's where underneath here is where you're going to see that conversation back and forth.
And you could tag it to a particular form that you're wondering about, because I didn't see how you linked it to the wired fraud advisory.
No, I can't do it that way. That would be really cool. But they can't attach that to that one document, say this document is rejected. But so like, for instance, in my RPA on one of my transactions, the buyer had selected the box that said they are waiving the right to a home warranty. And my market center said, well, we want you to get the form to waive the home warranty. And so I just went inside the comments and I said, add to my broker and add to my compliance person, why do I need an additional form when they clearly marked it in the RPA? And they're like, okay, yeah, no, that's good enough. And so sometimes they just, you know, everybody's human and we just miss something. And so sometimes like I had one too where they said, well, you're missing this one thing inside of this form. But I was like, no, it's right there. Just can you double check it? And they went back and looked at it like, oh, yep, sorry, missed it. So this is where the thread for the whole file is.
So if you have a conversation like that back and forth, where would you click to see that whole thread and not just one comment at a time?
It's going to be in there. So let me open up. Let me go to, if I go to all opportunities, you can see all your opportunities. And I think on this one, I've got some back and forth on, yeah. So see where it's got the chat bubbles next to here?
Yeah.
So if I click on this chat bubble,
Okay.
yeah, so this is where she said, hey, you're missing the PED for this for visitor. And I was like, wait a second, the PED one is for the buyer. I've already uploaded that one. She was like, we need one for each party who enters the property. We have the buyers and sellers, only missing yours. And I was like, wait, you need one for me as the agent? It's like, yeah. I'm like, oh, okay. So I just did the PED form, put it in. But that whole conversation is housed in whatever particular folder. So again, like under contract, they had marked underneath I had put all the inspections in under the home warranty one instead of like breaking it out. And so they were like, wait a second, we need, you know, the pest and the roof. And so that's what it said, all inspection, the home inspection PDF. And that was, they looked at it and said, okay, cool. And then did it. So past communication back and forth is here. If I want to add a specific comment, you'll see it also in here as well. So it'll be here, or if I go to add a new comment, it'll show within whichever folder I'm doing it with.
Okay. And then the very last step after agents have uploaded their documents is to submit to the MC, right?
Yep, you'll
That's
see.
what alerts your,
Yep, that's what it looks. So, but generally, what I would recommend is, you get all the information in there, and if you think like, okay, I think I'm good, submit it. So that way, compliance can go through, and they'll look at it and say, okay, all this stuff is approved, but this one you forgot this one you forgot that. You're also missing these other forms that are required. And that way, okay, I need to go grab these 5 or 6 other things, go get them, put them in, and then resubmit.
okay,
Yeah.
perfect. That was helpful for me too.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay. Well, I think you've covered a big chunk today, Jeff. So I don't know if anyone has any other questions about anything Jeff went over. Here's your chance.
Anything on Facebook?
No, no.
Okay, cool.
So I've recorded this class and we'll upload it to our YouTube channel, which is Forward Training. And thank you so much, Jeff. So we'll set something up with you next month. It's been
Absolutely.
very informative. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Jeff.
Thanks, guys. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.